had one sustained run in the whole game, but you happened to pick under 4 minutes to do it. Just talk about getting that going.
We know in the past we haven't done a good job closing out games, so we made a point in practice try to practice that, finishing out games strong and doing it on the defensive end.
Sorry, guys. Both you guys coming into this game, you know that you guys started off 0-2 in conference play, not closing out games great, and you know you're already down one starter, you lose another starter 3 minutes in. Can you guys just talk about sustaining the kind of energy you guys sustain, where that came from with such a depleted roster out there?
Our goal is to make the postseason, try to make the NIT. So we know we couldn't afford to lose 3 games in a row. It's definitely in conference. So I think our energy came from that. Our motivation came from that down the stretch.
Dom, what type of win against Vermont does this do to your confidence that they're losing 2 really tough games to start off conference play?
I guess it's high. It makes our confidence high. We just know that we battled to that. It felt like this was the first game we actually battled for all 40 minutes. So we just got to keep that mindset and just remember that just one play at a time. Don't get frustrated when you make a mistake. So,
either of you guys, what do you think happened? If you're saying you got to keep that mindset now, what do you think happened the first 2 games that you guys got away from that mindset a little bit?
I think it was mostly we were getting down when we made a mistake, and when we did make a mistake, we were either up 3 and they were coming back, or we were down 1. So in practice, we just focused on different situations, we up or down, and just forget about it and just keep playing hard.
Dom, I asked you earlier this season the keys to you know, sustaining a high level of playing. You talked about, you know, having fun out there, keeping the energy up. Just, I mean, your stats, the jump from last year to this year is pretty monumental. Can you just talk about, you know, at this point in the season, what once again are the keys to you to, you know, another 17, another double-double for you?
Just play hard. Don't worry about getting in foul troubles. Run the floor hard. Just do everything hard and have fun. I know I'm slimmed down in weight. I'm a lot quicker, so just go out there and have fun. That's basically what it is.
DJ, how big is it for you driving? There were 2 plays in a row and at least 3 in the second half where you drive, Dom sets the screen, rolls, you hit him for a bucket right around there. How big is it to have someone that you can throw the ball into if guys double you off of the screen this year?
I mean, it's huge knowing that we have inside and outside presence. I mean, we didn't really have much of that last year, but now Dom, he got in shape, he got better over the offseason, so it helps a lot.
You came up with a super game on the boards, and basically the team played them even. But you lost big men in the process as the game went on. The battle. Talk a little bit about the battle you had underneath.
It was a fight. Cranker, he's a big guy. So when we lose a few big men, and I was like the only one down there, I just knew I had to get my body on one of the bigs and just go for the rebound. Even if I wasn't going to do it, just make the effort. Because if I don't get my hands on it, I could at least tip it back.
DJ, for you, you know, going against their backcourt, what were some of the keys for you and Mo coming into this game? Because they're not as quick as you was one of the keys to try and exploit that, to try and take them off the dribble.
Yeah, definitely. We knew they were taller and bigger than us, but we were smaller and quicker than them. So I knew we had to use that as an advantage with me and Mo, try to get in the lane and try to create for other people.
Can either of you guys say something about, you know, especially Justin Alston? He came in there. I know he's only 1 for 4, but he's given you guys some good minutes the past couple games, and just some of the other reserves. Him, you know, James played 6 minutes, Zach played 17 minutes. Just some guys that normally don't play a lot, kind of be impressed into action of what you got from them out there today.
Those guys have matured a lot over the season. If you were here at our practice in the beginning of the season, Justin didn't know any of the plays. He couldn't do a drill, but now he's picking it up a lot. As well as Zach, he knows the defensive rotation. Zach is he's great offensively, but he hasn't really played much because he hasn't really known defensive rotations, but now he's picking it up. And James as well, he's playing harder on the glass and everything like that. So those guys help us a lot, being down 2 starters.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
I'll see you guys. Ciao.
Can we take
Ciao. Yeah, go ahead.
Joe, their guy Blue hits a 3-pointer with 8:53 to play in the first half, and then they don't get another field goal for the rest of the way. Talk about, comment on how that happened.
Yeah, we've been. I'm just going to kind of give you some background on what we do. dealing with. So we play Maine. We feel like we're playing pretty good basketball. We played good in Florida. We think defensively we're playing good. We guarded Belmont really well. They're a good team. We get to Maine, and it's like, it's a really slow game. We're not playing with a lot of energy consistently. Like, we'll play 3 or 4 minutes, and then we're just like, we come back home, and we're like, as a staff, we have to speed the game up. We've got to get the game going. So then we put some things in, and we go against Hartford, and we're pressing. We're trapping them. We're pressing half court, and we're just running around, just to try to speed the game up and play faster. But the bottom line is, whatever we're doing, if we do it hard, we're pretty good. And so tonight we just said, you know what, we need to get back to playing straight man, guard your man, be there to help your teammate, and let's just play with great energy. And that's what they did. And then in that run, that's what you saw. You just saw some guys out there just battling and able to use their quickness and their athletic ability to our advantage. It was great to see. That's what a BU team should look like.
Looking at Vermont, and they're a systematic team who always stay within the system. You sped them up tonight, and it took them out of their game. How big do you think that was in the outcome?
Yeah, anytime you're playing against a system team and you're playing against a team that needs rhythm to score, so you try to throw their rhythm off by denying a pass or pressuring a pass here and there, and we were able to do that. And then we were able to, they're a team that relies more on the pass to score than the dribble to score. So we were able to kind of pressure them into doing some things uncharacteristically that they won't want to do. So that was a big part of the game. That was one of the keys to the game. Rebounding was the number one key. The second key was ball pressure.
They do slash, though, with the ball. You seem to take that away until Charisma in the final moment.
Yeah, he was able to really put his head down and go. The thing about our guys, we have some guys that are good enough to pressure the ball and also be able to keep guys in front of them. And that was big. And then really, not getting beat at the rim. If they threw it down there, we wanted to go down there and double team them. We didn't want to give up layups.
I know every time I ask a question, you deflect it and say it's an excuse to say anything to it. But today, the roster's already really short. You've only really got 7 game-ready guys, and you lose 2 of them, or you don't have one to start the game. You lose the other 3 minutes in. Are you impressed with the energy today, considering how up against the wall maybe the team might have been and how depleted the roster was today?
I'm hoping we can build off this. I think we played that Quinnipiac game. We were down by 3, we tied up, and we went by 8. And you feel like that was a step, And then you get into league play, you lose 2 in a row. You're like, man, you feel like you were a little further along. I'm hoping this one can kind of get us going a little bit because it was a great character win. There's no doubt. And Zach really deserved what he got today because he's been working really hard at the things we asked him to do. And it just shows that, guys that are working hard, Justin Austin's been working his tail off. So when he goes in the game, you think something good's going to happen because he's been working hard. So it was a great character win. Hopefully this is something that we can look back on, and say, that's when we got to go. It was a turning point. We got to kind of try to catapult this into something really special because I think this team's got a chance. I think, obviously, the best basketball is way ahead of us, but I'm hoping that we're getting closer to being a good team.
It seemed like in the Maine game and in the Hartford game, both those games the team kind of hit the wall, maybe 6 minutes left or so. Tonight it seemed like 2 guys that they really don't show up much in the stat sheet, but 2 huge moments it seemed energy-wise were when Justin gets that dunk, and then when Zach hits the 3, and Malik Thomas is at the other end waving his arms around, jumping up and down. It seemed like those were 2 moments from unexpected players that really kind of brought the team energy back up today.
Yeah, no doubt. And Justin's been I think Justin's energy level overall, like in the Cornell game, I thought that was a big difference. Just his energy coming in. And so when you know how it is, those guys that haven't played much, they do something well. Those guys are so close, it's great. And I think that's part of it. When those guys come in the game, that they're bringing something to the table. And so I think that was huge for us.
You talked about how big the rebounding was, but going with Sam's theme of losing people and still basically rebounding them even. What emphasis did you talk about the last couple of days? And how are you? Did they go beyond your expectations tonight?
No, not at all. I think we're a young team, so when we don't overemphasize things, whether it's transition defense, it was transition defense for a while. ball pressure. It's always been something because we're young. Hopefully we get to a point where we don't have to stress these things so much that we're doing them more consistently. But that was the number one key. And we were getting out rebounded 88 to 105 in the last 3 games going into this game. And it was embarrassing. Hartford out rebounded us by 20 in our gym. It was embarrassing. And some of that was that we were scrambling. Other than that, we weren't going after the ball. And so, we did some rebounding drills. It was one of the reasons why Nate got hurt in the rebounding drill. But we did some rebounding drills, and we tried to just go out there and just have an emphasis on pursuing the basketball because we just weren't chasing the ball. We're shooting threes and no one's going after it. Don was the only one really going. So, tonight was great. We did a really good job in the second half. We really did a good job. Because I think we're getting out rebounded 8. Was it 8 or 6 or something like that at halftime?
Yeah, 27-19 maybe.
At the half? Yeah.
At one time.
And I thought
it was a half.
it was 22 to 14 at halftime.
Yeah, and I think it was 3 threes to start the second half.
Yeah. And I think the big thing was today we had the energy to finish, and we were able to kind of extend that lead, and we hadn't been able to do that. We just haven't been able to do that consistently.
Could you talk about Dom's progression? I mean, he gives you another double-double. I don't think he had a single double-double to his career before this season, and it seems like he's really a guy who struggled and went through a lot of growing pains his first 2 years, maybe with some too much expectations from people coming in, but it seems like he's really kind of hit his stride this year.
With him, it's funny. The kid has never been the go-to guy on any team that he's played on. He'll tell you that. He's been a good player, but he's had so many other guys that he played AAU ball and high school ball with, that were terrific players. So they just kind of used him, and he was a piece. And he's never had to be a scorer. And this kid has just everything I've asked him to do, he's done. To change his diet, to change his eating habits, to change the way he was living, he did it. And to his credit, he's benefited from it. And he's turned into a really good basketball player. Like, he's an inside-out guy. He can pass it. He can put the ball on the floor. He's elusive. He's quick now. He's quick off his feet. He's never dumped the ball this many times. It's just things that he's able to do, and a lot of it's to his credit because he put the time in. He really did.
You think confidence has made it more focused?
Yeah. The better he plays, the better he's going to continue to play. That's just, and now he knows he's good. Like, he knows. Where before he's a little unsure of himself. The thing that he's got to be able to do at times, if he's not playing well at a stint, that he's got to come back and get it going again. So tonight was great. He missed some chippies at the rim. He wasn't taking it strong enough, I thought, and then he just kept going, and he was able to break through.
What's Nate's status?
I think he's day-to-day. I think there's a great chance that he can play on Saturday, but he's day-to-day.
Leg injury or
concussion?
Oh.
Am I allowed to say that?
Kind of simplistic, Joe, but I thought these 7 of 8 free throws when both teams were in the doldrums.
Yeah. I think the big thing is, our ability to put the ball on the floor. We were ball screening a ton, and people just load up on us. I mean, there's some things I got to do a better job of, but we got to move the defense around more. It's too many times we kind of get into this thing where we ball screen early, and then we kind of stand around and watch DJ and Mo play. And we need to move the defense around more. And there were some things that we tried to do tonight. I think that really helped us because we were able to put pressure on them off the dribble and off the pass, and that really put us in an attacking mode, and we were able to draw fouls. I thought that really was, and then we gave it back to them. And it was, we had a big differential in fouls, and all of a sudden, 3 minutes later, they were in the bonus too.